Self-help books are a thing that I was really adverse to for a long time, and there's a couple reasons why I feel I had such a negative opinion of them. One, okay, obviously things have changed, and I say obviously, it's not that obvious, but I'm telling you things have changed, and this is not necessarily in praise of self-help books, but it's just a conversation about them and how I have opened up to them more so than I used to be open to them, because I was completely closed off before. Not just that I didn't want to read them. I mean, it's the reasons why I didn't want to read them with a judgment of other people who did read them. So first of all, first thing, out the gate, I think that I had a really negative opinion of them and a low opinion of those who read them because I guess I just had this, stupid, shallow opinion, somewhat hierarchical of literature, but also just of people of just like, why would you need that? Like, why can't you figure things out on your own? And that's pretty dumb. I mean, this kind of goes hand in hand with even counseling and seeking counseling from others or seeking help. And some people seek help through reading about it or watching videos or through counseling or all the above and other options that I'm not even listing here. And seeking help to become a better you is what I preach all the time. Or not seeking help, but becoming a better you, right? I guess that's something that I've focused on for a really long time. It's just finding ways to be a better you. Who do you want to be? And just personal growth and things like that. And it's never, I don't think that I've ever just been super stoic about it. I think that I have been open and receptive to giving and receiving help, but it hasn't been in those specific ways of like counseling and also reading self-help books for some reason. So I definitely had a low opinion of people that did, which is silly. But I think that just came with this horrible just judgment that I used to carry about people in general and valuing their value, valuing their worth through their intelligence. And I thought of self-help books as a sign of a lower intelligence. I don't mean IQ. I guess lower intelligence isn't what I mean. Weakness is what I mean. And for a long time, I carried along this quote of weak. Oh, now I forgot it. Mercy is weakness, and weakness is death. And I think I carried that around for a long, long time, and that has a lot of other implications with it as well. But I just didn't want to be a weak person, and I didn't value those who I judged or saw as weak people, and I extended that, or not extended, but one of the ways that I would measure someone as weak was if they were reading self-help books. Because I felt like they couldn't figure it out on their own, and they weren't even valuing their time, or they weren't putting in a certain amount of effort. But I also thought I had an impression for so long that self-help books, the majority of them, this hasn't changed that much, but I feel like part of that, it's not about the fact, this is the thing, this is why I'm having a conversation, but there was this push and pull of like, I want people to want to grow, but at the same time, if they were trying to grow through that avenue, I was really judgmental of it, which is, again, silly, and I know that. Part of it was because that weakness and intelligence both seemed to be lacking because I judged self-help books as really scammy, I guess, of taking advantage of people who needed help. I think there are a lot of speakers and programs and people who are like faux inspirational and want to help others or frame themselves that way that are really in it for a money grab. I still maintain that there's a lot of those programs and materials and people who are framing themselves to just be really loving and wanting to share this information that they have, when really they're just saying a lot of things that are nothing, really. It's just a lot of fluff, and I feel like that was part of the reason I judged those people so harshly for I don't know, it'd be like, I guess I would compare it to judging someone who wanted to be financially successful, but they were doing it through like a scam. They were like, the Nigerian prince just needs you to send him this amount of money to unlock your $1 million or whatever, right? And it's like, if you could be taken advantage by that, I just didn't value you as a person either, which I think I've spoken to in the past couple of months. A lot of how that's changed and how I can be much more, empathetic and understanding and patient of those who are at different cognitive abilities, etc. So I don't really feel like diving into that and speaking to that again, because I feel like I've done that. But that is one of the reasons. Like, I felt like self-help books were a scam, that they were a sham, that they were quacks, that they were people that were presenting themselves as one thing but delivering another thing, and I just didn't see them as legitimate or valuable. And I really still do believe that a lot of people who write self-help books and offer that type of service aren't really doing a lot that is legitimate. But I do believe that there's some people who are doing something legitimate. I do believe that also, just in the want to help people, that is one avenue that people take in order to help others, that they feel like they can reach people through writing about it in this style of like, hey, this is a self-help book about this. This is what my understandings along my journey and everything else. And like, this is one way you can think about things, and giving you a different perspective. And I think that that's worthy. And I think that people who want to pursue that are worthy, and that it is valuable, and that it has legitimacy to it. But again, like anything else, I would say it is it's inconsistent, right? The amount of legitimacy and value and authenticity that there is with that type of book, it varies, just like anything else. It just gets judged in the realm of literature. I judge it so differently because, like, I valued books, and still do, books that make me think, that can push me towards new ideas and push me to arrive at things artistically and creatively and just personally, and challenge me. And self-help books do that in abundance if they're the right ones, if you know what I mean. But it just doesn't do it in a presentation or it's just a very different genre, right? We're talking about nonfiction books, right? And so they read very differently, and I didn't see them as this worthy pursuit because I didn't trust them, was a huge part of that. The reason why this is coming up right now is because I have read, I suppose, one book along those lines, which had to do with anxiety. I think it's called First Let's Make the Beast Beautiful, and it was somewhat helpful. And that was like 3 years ago, I think, maybe a little less. And I have been in the middle of reading another one that has to do with parenting, and I find some of that helpful, although there's a lot of contention I have with it right now. And by the end of it, I'm not sure if that will clear up and give me some more answers, because right now I feel a lot of things I have questions, basically. And I'm hoping they're answered through the book, because I'm just like, I don't understand how this works. But my counselor has asked me to read a book that she's given me. And I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to today. So that's why it's been on my mind. And I've just been thinking about how I used to think about self-help books and such. And I think one of those reasons is because this book that has been given to me loaned to me to read has been endorsed by an author that's kind of a not super, I don't want to call them not authentic or legitimate or trustworthy, but they present themselves in a way that, again, it's not the author that wrote the book, it's the author who is on the cover in support of this book, that has written other books that are prominent, that I'm sure if I said the names of a couple of them, you would know them right away, or the name of the author. And that author just isn't super, they just don't present themselves very well. So it makes me automatically judge this book before I've read it, because I'm like, I don't know, like, if this other dude really is endorsing it, then I'm kind of on the fence about it. But anyway, I feel there is value there. I just feel like, again, it's just a different thing. Like, if someone writes a crappy fiction book, or even one that's like pandering to a specific audience, they don't really try that hard, they could also be doing that for a money grab. They could be doing a sequel of a book for the wrong reasons, whatever. There's all those things too. But I feel like it's different when you have the guise of helping people versus just entertaining people. So when you present yourself as, I want to help people, I legitimately want to give this knowledge and share these things that could be of a lot of use to people, and yet you're saying a lot of nothing and fluff, and taking advantage of people, then it really rubs me the wrong way, right? And again, I have that judgment there, and it's why, and that carried over to the books themselves and the people that read them. And now I'm a person that reads them. I still don't think I will do it all that often. However, I did go out of my way a couple weeks back and bought some books that had to do, some nonfiction books. I don't know if they're self-help, but I guess they are presenting ideas in a nonfiction way that are getting you to accept and cope with mortality. I haven't read them yet, but I would like to. And so I'm just kind of in this pocket right now of like, yeah, the last one that I read was years ago, and now I'm reading two at once, and there's another one that I would like to get to, and I've just been more aware that my opinion has changed over the course of years, and the opinions that I held and why, and therefore wanted to discuss that. Because again, I feel like there is a lot of value that could be had there, but I am extremely skeptical and wary of the authenticity of the author and their intentions. Much like, I mean, counselors too, right? I feel like there's just, some people are there to take advantage of. I mean, if you are expressing that you need help, you are letting it be known that you are vulnerable. And everyone's vulnerable, but I mean, you're letting it be known, I need help with this specific thing, and someone is trying to fill that gap. But again, that's like supply and demand, right? If someone says they need help with a specific thing, or you feel like you can fill that with a book, maybe it doesn't have to be legitimate because you've filled that void in the market for that specific issue, and you framed it and packaged and marketed it beautifully, and it's a lot of fluff, and the people that need that help are in a position where maybe they aren't going to realize that it's a lot of fluff and that they've been taken for a ride. So anyway, that's where I am with self-help books. I feel, again, just much more open to that, and just, I don't know, it was kind of a benchmark for me realizing how much I have changed with that amount of judgment with people. And I like that. I like seeing that growth and being a more empathetic, patient, loving, caring person for people that I don't know, which is just a strange concept for me and one that I'm not all too that familiar with, but I'm getting there. And that's all I have to say about self-help books, specifically, and other things I've talked about.